I am joined by the legendary Robb Flynn. Mate, it's such a weird time in human history to be asking how you're doing, but how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing all right. Quarantine is you know, I'm supposed to be on tour, but other than that, my life off the road is essentially unchanged. I never realized how much of a hermit I am until the world went on quarantine, and I was like, wow, my life is pretty much the same.
Have you been staying busy creatively during this quarantine period?
Oh yeah, for sure. Just writing furiously like there's no tomorrow. Yeah, that's all I've been doing, and it's been cool. In a lot of ways, I think that you know there's been a lot of good things that came out of quarantine. Like I got a home gym set up. Me and my wife put a couch in the garage, and now we have like a date night every Friday and Saturday night where we just open the garage and watch the sun go down and drink. And it's like it's crazy because I even see people. I never see anybody walking around my neighborhood ever. And now I see whole families taking walks, and moms and dads riding bikes, or kids and father and son riding bikes, and little things like that. Yes, it sucks that I'm not on tour, but it's kind of forced me to like look at other things and just like, hey, I got time to improve myself and work on it.
So I'm going to ask you about being creative a little bit later on, but as we talk now, looking at your social media and knowing where we are at the moment, have you been out involved in the protests, Rob? Because I've seen some of your photography being, like, as always, from the front lines.
Yeah, I've been going to protests. I just went to a protest this weekend with my dad, my 83-year-old dad, and my two sons and my wife. And it was up in Sacramento, about 20,000 people. I did another one a few days before that in Oakland. And yeah, this is the time. This is a moment in history, and I really feel like it's important for people to get involved in this kind of stuff. And it's cool to post about it on social media, and there's a lot of people posting about it. Not a lot of band people, but a lot of people. And but I think it's a lot more important to go into the streets and stand alongside these people and make your voice be heard. They're intense, they're angry. The two that I was in were completely peaceful. There was no looting or riots or anything like that. It was just a lot of angry people voicing how they feel about the world today.
Do you feel like bands are scared? Because bands seem scared to express an opinion more these days in general. Like, I know that from doing my job. But with everything being very hostile and kind of not only on the streets that there's bricks being thrown at one another, like different people on different sides of things are taking really militant stances. Do you think that it's a tricky situation to be in a band and speak your mind, or is that part of the gig, is speaking your mind?
I think that there's a lot of people doing stuff kind of behind the scenes. I think that they're letting their voice be heard in other ways. But yeah, let's face it, like the blowback you're going to get from standing up for this stuff, or even posting hashtag Black Lives Matter it's going to be fucking, it's going to be a hurricane of blowback. And, at this point, I just don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck, man. Like, this is the time not to stand on the fucking sides. This is not the time to be silent. This shit's been going on for fucking years now, and I'm over it. I'm over it. Like, fucking, I'm going to say it. And if you don't like my stance or my opinion, or I lose you as a fan, fucking bye-bye.
Do you know what, Rob? That side of things, when it comes to you in particular, has blown my mind because, like, Burn My Eyes, your very first Machine Head record, is the kind of fallout from the scorched earth of the Rodney King beatings. You can feel that suburban anger running through the course of Machine Head from the very first record. So I'm always like, who woke up and realized like where Rob was at, like be it politically or mindset or whatever the fuck that people want to say?
It always blows my mind, like we've been singing about this, those most of the lyrics to Burn My Eyes were written in 1993. I was in the protests for the Rodney King riots. I remember driving around Oakland and Berkeley. I had a mountain bike. I didn't have a car at the time, and I just rode literally straight into a riot. Like I just wanted to be a part of this moment in history. And it was crazy because there was a lot of peaceful protesters. There was a lot of people trying to loot. I mean, I had gangbanger dudes taking swings at me, trying to steal my bike. Then I had the police swinging batons at me, trying to hit me. I mean, it was fucking shit was on fire. Like it was crazy. And like the way that I grew up, my father, joined the army at 18, served his full term, honorable discharge and everything, and immediately came out. And this is the height of the Vietnam War. And he immediately went into protesting the Vietnam War after just finishing his service. So that was my introduction to that. Yes, you can be a patriot. Yes, you can serve your country, but then you can turn around and protest what you don't feel is right. And that had a powerful effect on me. I mean, he'd take me to think he marched in the civil rights. He marched against Vietnam. He even to this day, like 4 years ago, him and I went on a protest. It was the women's march that happened. And it was amazing, and filled me with an incredible sense of pride to be marching just this weekend with my 83-year-old dad.
Yeah, like let's talk Machine Head as well then, because when I think about the last couple of years, like it's been a weird part of human history, but in thinking about what we were going to talk about today, I was like, Machine Head have had a really weird few years, no matter what way you slice it up. So there's the obvious about Phil and Dave, but like you've had your biggest song to date on Spotify, and yet it's a song that seems to split opinion with the fan base.
Right.
You quit playing festivals and have been playing 2.5-year sets. Like, when you look at the last couple of years, like, you've done almost everything entirely differently and on your own terms. How do you look at it all, like, now that we're in 2020?
I'm proud of the choices that we made as far as, like Evening With and not doing festivals. I mean, it's seriously been the best thing that it's the best choice we ever made. And it was an incredibly hard choice to make because the money from festivals is so hard to resist. And the allure of playing to a bunch of people who, for the most part, don't know who the fuck you are and don't care. It's like a bunch of looky-loos. And that's what I got tired of, man. I had no connection to the audience anymore. Like it was just like playing to a bunch of strangers rather than a bunch of, I'd rather play to 1,000 people who fucking know every word and live and breathe this band than to 10,000 people where 9,000 of them don't fucking care who we are. And yeah, I can get them to jump and A and circle pit, but it's like, I didn't get anything out of it. And, I think that, in regards to the songs and stuff, like, look, man, I am an artist. I follow my gut. I follow my heart. This isn't a fast food buffet. You know what I mean? I don't serve what's most popular. Like, this is a boutique. If we're gonna like use a restaurant analogy, this is a boutique restaurant, and I serve you whatever the fuck I feel like serving you.
Yeah.
And if you don't like the type of food that I'm serving, then fucking go to the buffet restaurant.
But I mean, to me, it's always weird when people feel like they have ownership over what they want you to do. Like Mark from Suicide Silence, I haven't spoken to him yet, but he's on this show as well. And the two bands who See, it happened to Suicide Silence. They made some creative changes and people turned against them. And I was like, that's distasteful. And when I saw it happen to Machine Head, I was like, now hold the fuck on. Like, whether you like this record or you don't, look at this canon of work and how fucking dare you, was my take as a militant, you know my feelings on your band, right? What's it like being the general of all of that chaos?
Like, I think I'm not the guy that bashes social media. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think that social media has been one of the greatest things that has ever happened to bands and personalities and connecting with fans. And like, I think it has brought, has it brought bad? Yes, it's brought bad. Has it brought a shit ton of good? Absolutely. And especially in the connecting of fans and the culture and everything, especially like creating a culture around this band. I think you got to remember that there is a very vocal minority, a very, very vocal minority that, for lack of a better word, is intimidating to people. Nobody really wants to go all in and just fucking fight to the death on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or wherever, TikTok, whatever the fuck. Like, there's a lot of people that just go, I fucking love Machine Head. I love Catharsis. I back the shit out of that band and everything that dude stands for or the band stands for.
Yeah.
And they just don't say it on social media. They come to the shows. They sing the fucking songs at the top of their lungs. They say it to all of our faces, and they just don't say it. And then so there's this other part that is very vocal on social media that you hear, and in some ways that kind of like makes people perceive that that's the dominant mindset of our fan base. And it, especially when you're someone who, look, I got a big mouth. I got a strong opinion. I don't really, I don't sugarcoat it. Like, I just kind of say what I feel, and that draws, a strong opposition that can sometimes overshadow stuff. And that was a lot of it with Catharsis. I can tell you what, most people didn't even listen to Catharsis. I can see the streams, I can see the data, I can see the skip rate and everything. Like, most people didn't hear it. They heard, they saw the Bastards fucking lyric video and they went, fuck that shit sucks, pussies, libtards, snowflakes, fags, whatever, and I was like, whatever, and I'm proud of that record. There's some amazing songs on there. I don't feel that any record that we've ever put out is perfect. Like, I can always find fault with some song or two on the record, and that goes for The Blackening, Ashes, Burn My Eyes, what have you, but there's some strong stuff. And again, that was a reflection of, this moment in time that we were in. And, I stand behind it 100%.
So we're the latest thing that we've got from you creatively is Circle the Drain.
Right.
What I wanted to ask you is, when I boil up what you just said, and I think about the ups and the downs that any band would have over the stretch of time that you've been Machine Head, and those ups and downs when it comes to Machine Head are so pronounced, like on both ends of the scale. Where would you say that Machine Head are right now in 2020?
Where would I say we are as far as, I don't know. I mean, like, we're in a pandemic.
No, you know what I mean, in terms of creatively, how you feel about the band,
like,
and its standing in 2020.
Like, I walk around in a fury all day. I walk around in a fucking rage all day. And the lyrics that I write and the music that I've been writing and all of it is very reflective of that. And, and even if the music isn't like super, thrashy or whatever you want to call it, the lyrics are pissed off as fuck.
Mm.
And I think it's really easy. In fact, I think it's almost like, I don't want to say, I don't know if it's easy is the right word I'm looking for, but as you get older in a band, it becomes the best option is to just shut your mouth and make middle of the road statements that don't really offend anybody and not really take a stand on anything. As opposed to when you're young and, full of vim and vigor and piss and vinegar, and you want to just, you don't give a fuck, like you just want to do it. I think it becomes, that becomes the logical choice. Because, why rock the boat? It's like what happens to you when you become old. Like people tend to become more conservative. They become more like they don't want to do things that might offend.
And if I might interject, because you have to be more diplomatic than I do in this regard. Like everyone's dollars are green, and that's sometimes how people look at things. Like
that's right.
If you take a stand, then there are people that will not support you. Whereas if you don't make any kind of statements, you're middle of the road. Then yeah.
And I'm definitely nowhere near the middle of the road right now. I am just in a whole other place, and I'm sure I'll lose fans because of it. At least for a little while. I think they'll come back, and if they don't, then thanks for listening for the time you did. But this is what I got to say, and this is where we have to go, and this is the place that Machine Head is at.
Is what you're creating at the moment, then, is it musically heavy as well? Because when you've added Vogue from Decapitated, like, I'm dying to hear the melding of those two things, like what you bring to the table and what he brings to the table. Have you been writing together, or have you been taking the reins on this? Like, how's it all going with writing the next full length?
We've definitely talked. I've co-written some stuff with Logan, and I'd love to get Vogue on board. Yeah, I'd love to get right with Vogue too. We're just kind of hammering out, whatever we need to do. But Vogue did play a solo on one of the new songs that we're going to be dropping pretty soon here, and yeah, it's angry, and I'm stoked about the direction that it's going. It's heavy. It's it's modern Machine Head. You know what I mean? Like I would say it's familiar to the last 10 years. It's not Burn My Eyes. It's still some other thing.
Mate, the reason my face lights up is because the first Machine Head show I saw, Logan was still in the band. The Astoria on the More Things Change.
Oh shit, nice.
So how on earth has it been? Like, I mean, it's one thing like him and Chris coming back for the Burn My Eyes portion of your live set. It's another thing entirely to be writing with Logan for the first time after that stretch of time. Like, how is that dynamic? Like, not only compared to how it was, but just how it is.
It's cool. I mean, it's different in the fact that we're not, he lives in Las Vegas, and so we're not getting in a room. We're not getting into a room that we rented and shared with 5 other punk rock bands like we used to. We used to practice in this place called the Emeryville Warehouse, where like it was just a fucking junky. It's been torn down now, but it was just covered in punk rock flyers, and this was the what we immersed ourselves in. It was we used to have this. We practiced right on San Pablo Avenue for a while, which is back in 1992 was just fucking. I mean, it was shot like just fucking the ghetto. And we used to have, we'd have these black homeless people like outside of the barred window, like listening to us play. And every once in a while we'd fuck around with hip hop songs, and they'd be like, "Oh shit, these white boys know this song." So it was like it was this crazy vibe. And so, that's different because we're writing separately, but we're sending tracks back and forth. And I think with technology today, like we can do a lot of incredible stuff. And, the stuff that we have collaborated on has been really cool. In fact, I sang on a Once Human song, and now he's got some riffs in a new Machine Head song. So yeah, it's been pretty cool.
Like, so how's the relationship these days? Like, because I mean, that's an amazing thought to me. Like, to be that far away, to be that far away from you not working together again. Like, how is it working with him again? What do you bring out of each other from a personality standpoint?
It's I mean, I think that we're both completely different people at this
Yeah,
point. I mean, he's like super zen yoga dude, like really, meditates every day. Like it's just kind of the polar opposite of where either of us were when, we parted ways in 97 or 98 or whatever it was.
yeah.
And I'm in a way different place too. And so it's like we just, we're kind of coming together because of this shared history, but we're just different people that have kind of went down the same path together in a weird way. We kind of went, got lost in the wilderness and kind of came back and found this path together, and it's pretty amazing. Same with Chris. Same with Chris, and even with Matt and Vogue. Like it's just like these are people that are very much on the same wavelength. Jared. Well, we'd sit there. Machine Head is 6 people now, which is crazy.
Yeah.
and
Mate, you're going to need boiler suits and masks soon.
I'm trying to compete with Slipknot now. So, but
so,
I mean, but I just think that we're so much on the same wavelength as people and what we feel like as musicians and what we want to say to the world and accomplish, and like it's pretty incredible.
Do you think we're looking at 2021 for a record, or do you think it could even be this year?
I don't think we're just really into. I'm all about dropping singles right now.
Right.
So, like I really want to just have a consistent. Like I think an album will definitely show up, and some of these songs may end up on that album. But to me, it's all about like just a constant stream of music dropping all the time and keeping fans. The idea of we're pretty slow with albums. I mean, it's already been 2.5 years since our last album. So I just don't want to wait. I don't want to wait another year to get music out. Like the music's here, the music's done. A lot of the lyrics that I've written, are very much now, and they need to be heard now in this moment. And, especially with, it's incredible because I do a podcast and, you do a podcast, this, like I can record a podcast and have it up an hour later. That's fucking crazy to me that I could finish a song and have it up 6 hours later on all the fucking digital service providers. Like that's fucking amazing. Like never in history have we been able to do something like that. And we need to do more of that, especially when songs that are written about this moment and these times, like it's important to put them out now, not a year and a half from now.
So we are looking at new Machine Head music soon then?
Very soon.
Oh, right.
Sooner than you think.
I'll leave it at that then, because we'll be talking again when you release new music. So I've got to before I let you go, you got to tell me about No Effing Regrets. Like, there are certain people that when they say they're going to get a podcast, I go, and then there are certain people who say they're going to get a podcast, and I'm like, that's what's up. And it's all about people that are not afraid of pulling their punches. How have you enjoyed being on what I'm going to arrogantly call my side of the mic, Robb Flynn?
You know what? I really enjoy it, man. Like I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. And at first, I think my first interviews were good. And just as I've gone on, like I've kind of expanded like what subject is okay to talk about and kind of like been fearless about it. And it's always, sometimes you just get that guest that is fucking like just, they're the same way and don't pull any punches. And it's just like, oh my God, like it's such a great feeling because you're like, this is fucking gold. And it's gold, and I'd never, I mean, I've had that from the other side where I did, I feel like every time I do an interview with you, it's always a great interview, like you're great. You ask great questions, like you're knowledgeable. And that's a big part of it is like, sometimes people just aren't fucking knowledgeable. And that's what makes it like a drag, but like when someone, you know, I feel like this because I've been in the music scene, I know a lot of the people, and even if I don't, I know about them because I'm fucking a geek and a nerd and fucking
Yeah.
just absorb worthless information like that. And it's been really cool, man. You know, I've had some really, you know, like I've had people cry like talking on my thing. I've had, you know, I've cried, like had really intense, you know, bonding moments that I don't know if I would have ever had if I wouldn't have been doing a podcast,
Yeah.
you know, like, and that just for that alone, it's been so fucking rewarding and
And what's
cool.
what's so like you've got a captive audience here. What episode would you recommend that people check it out so that you know to get a good idea of what No Effing Regrets is?
The Gary Holt interview was really good from Exodus. The John Joseph Cro-Mags interview was fucking so intense. I mean, like that dude's life should be a movie. It was fucking insane, like
Yeah.
you know, crazy shit. So I'd start there. Those two.
And Rob, we'll be speaking to you again. What I'm guessing is going to be very soon. Then, good luck with everything moving forward, and I'll chat to you when there is new Machine Head music.
All right, brother. Good talking to you, man. Take it easy.